Sengoku. Oh, we get straight into Sengoku job improvements and error fixes. Okay. Improve. Okay, focus on these two words: improvements and fixes. Okay. Sengoku allergies from a randomized buff to a fixed critical damage and attack damage buff. I think they've been wanting that forever. Minions now provide 20 attack, magic attack, and 10% critical damage at level 30. I think that's solid. That takes the RNG out of the current random buff from summoning. I mean, they did that, I believe, pretty much exactly for Corsair as well in the Destiny update. It's kind of wild that they would wait for a similar fix for Sengoku classes for so much extra time. Princess Sakuno Blessing also down to 2 minutes, and removal of the stack system. That's the same as for the rest of us. So far, that's so far so good. Goku Warrior changed to a passive skill and modified it so that Princess Sakuno's appearance appears when used. Wait, the Goku Warrior to a passive? Maple Warrior to a passive? Oh. And then Echo changed down to 5 minutes. Okay, so that's the good news. This is all great stuff. This is like an extra skill for auto buff available. No more 2 minutes, no more 4 minutes of waiting every time you get your blessing with their final damage buff. So this is going to be across the board, a big buff. No more randomization on your passive summon, so the 10% critical damage is going to be standard, which is above. And of course the echo change. These ones and these ones were mostly already expected because we have the same thing coming for all the other classes to make sure that the blessing skill, the goddess, whatever, or transcendent blessing, that those are down to 2 minutes and the stack stuff removed. In the beginning, they had like the stack system still, and also the 2 minute cooldown. I was like, but why? Like, it doesn't do anything anymore, the stack things, because you have a 2 minute cooldown. So if you have multiple stacks, but you can't use them back to back, then what's the point of the stacks? And they're like, I think they saw that after the Tespia. They pretty much saw that that was useless. Okay, I kind of cooldown change from 196 to 180. That's Conjure Spirit Zone. I'm pretty sure that's domain. All right. Well, that's copyrighted music. That makes sure I can't use this segment anymore. Okay. Well, thank you, Keith. Should have really changed that alert sound like a year ago or so, but thank you, Keith, for tier 3 for 6 months in advance. Jeez, this guy is on a spending spree. Hope you're doing well, man. Good luck with all the plans. Duration change from 74 to 60. I mean, this synchronizing a little bit better is probably great, but like losing 14... I wonder if losing 14 seconds of duration is a big deal. I mean, for soloing, it definitely is, but for partying, you're never really bursting much longer than that. But of course, yeah, losing 16 seconds on that and then 14 seconds here is a huge percentage uptime decrease. Summon Spirit damage increased by 20%. Number of attacks changed from 3 to 9. Summon Spirit final damage buff is changed to apply only to the user. I mean, this is written in MapleSEA, but this looks like domain reduced in cooldown, reduced in duration, gives more damage and does way more damage, but no more FD whatsoever from domain anymore. For party members, only for yourself. That is thanks again, Keith. Jesus, okay. Appreciate that. Spreading the love. We're having a soul. Yeah. So much soul. Now I can focus, Keith. Goddamn. One more. There we go. He's solidifying that rank 1 spot for the Sub-gifters this month. So just no more final damage whatsoever to party. Okay, so Kanna better get a whole lot of extra self damage then in these last 2 lines here. Otherwise, they're just like dead as a support. What's the next thing? Boss damage has been changed from 20 to 10% on the Bellflower barrier. Okay, amazing. Increased Kanna movement speed. Ah, there we go. There's the there's the balance we need. Oh god. Oh god. Movement speed. Okay, while Keith is maxing out his credit card, we're just gonna keep reading these skills changes, okay? Next, Keith. Movement speed increase option added to the other pearl skill. Movement speed increase between 22, yeah. So that's the same thing they gave to all the other classes in but the same update as well. So that's it. So the changes for Kanna are like, so arguably these, which are all positive changes. I don't know how much Princess Sakuno's blessing, basically being able to be used every 2 minutes, is really gonna help Kanna that much when you're gonna be centering it around a 3-minute cooldown skill. So I think effectively this puts your Princess Sakuno's blessing effectively on a 3-minute cooldown instead of 4, which is still positive. You can use it with every domain, but it's mostly a solo help. Making Summon Spirit final damage buff only apply to the user is not a change you can just make. You can't just say, oh, you know, this character whose pivotal function, or his main function in the game, is supporting team members, we're just going to take that out. And then what little is left, we're going to cut that in half as well. And then nothing else. Like, I think Kanna was finally in a situation now where it's in a good spot. It's not super OP. It's not super weak. Like, it's solidly useful. It just goes to... If this goes through the GMS as well, it just makes them just solidly shit. Just this one line is basically... I think this you could deal with. This you could deal with fine. This you could deal with. This is whatever. This you could all deal with. This would just bring the character more in line with all the other damage dealers. If you're gonna do this, like the damage buff needs to be increased by a lot. If they're gonna have to be just solely bringing their own damage rather than increasing other people's damage, is ridiculous. Second blessing is just like God's blessing changes. It's a bit different though, because for other classes it's mostly percentage damage and like some effects, but for Sengoku it's percentage final damage. So it is an increase, but you always want to look at what people's rotation is on their skills, right? So they'll every now and then be able to throw in an extra one and still have one, but because you don't work with the charges anymore, right? You'll just have to hold them for 3 minutes. So they're functionally going to become a 3-minute cooldown, even though they have a 2-minute cooldown. It's just going to be sitting on it for a minute until your full burst is back, right? So this is kind of like a fake cooldown, essentially, if you're talking about bossing. So if they're scaling on like, oh, this gives you so much final damage because you can use it every 2 minutes, and they're scaling that into people's damage, that's kind of fake because you're not going to use it on 2 minutes. And this might be making it look better than it actually is functionally. You're not going to use your Sakuno's Blessing outside, or you might a little bit because of prepping it, because it's kind of like Infinity, right? But you're not going to be using it every 2 minutes and then get the average FD that you could potentially, because it's not going to overlap with your burst and with your origin and with your domain. But I guess you'll be able to domain whenever. If they put domain down to like 2 minutes as well and reduce the duration, and you just become like a full-fledged 2-minute class so they can have solo potential with that, then maybe this could kind of work, at least for solo play. But now, like, I think the whole point with everything was to make things more synchronized and just more manageable in terms of cooldowns. But this doesn't seem to do that for Kanna, at least. And just removes them being a support. feel like if this goes through, we have to take Kanna off the support list, and they're like a hybrid support at best. If domain doesn't work anymore. But let's see, Hayato, great changes. Final damage buff duration for Hyoru Getsuken increased from 33 to 40 seconds. I wonder if that's enough. Is Hyoru Getsuken, is that a Iaijutsu Phantom Blade? Is that what that is? I assume that's what that is. Maybe that's long enough to pass through some tests now, so you don't lose all of your FD, because that's the main problem with Hayato. I think Hayato does fine. Another one of those, like, more DPM classes, but then has a few big bursts. Hayato got a passive buff with cutscene skip. Yes, well, that's one part though, but you still have like long tests in Kalos and that kind of stuff, right? Which I think is would be the problem if you I don't know if 40 seconds is enough to pass through like Kalos tests and stuff like that. And then sudden strike debuff doubled in duration. I guess that's nice. Damage increase debuff is changed to apply only to the user. Okay, never mind. They giveth and they taketh away right immediately. Okay. It's gonna add with power. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and that's just the. Wow, that is not. Well, I did say that there might be some kind of nerfs as well to bring them in line with the other supports. This is not bringing in line with other supports. This is just like not making it a support anymore at all. This is. I hope this doesn't go to GMS because this is royally screwed. That's really fucked. And Hayato basically gets a little bit of final damage for themselves on the duration. I don't even know if that consists of enough of a buff to compensate the loss of the support FD. So they'll like across the board, I would have to see that as a nerf, right? If I'm looking at the save this. Open that. Hello? Why is this so? Oh, here we go. So the milestone stuff. Is it heading 1 for this? Oh, title. Oh, Hayato changes. It's already the end. Regular normal text. There we go. And then you can at least find it here, right? Yeah, and then I can edit this. Kanna. That looks like that looks like huge nerf. And for Hayato, I don't know if that time extension is enough. That looks to me like still like a nerf because they're not keeping up with the damage that's needed to compensate for the loss of being supported in boss fights. Damn, just this little paragraph is this little 3-paragraph meme is some bad juju.